Welcome to Young Patriots.
Furious world leaders at the G20 in South Africa made a powerful statement against the United States boycott of the G20, which is being held in South Africa. The Trump regime is boycotting the G20 in South Africa because Donald Trump has fabricated that there is a white genocide taking place in South Africa. So he says the United States is out, to which the world leaders in the G20, or should I call it the G19, they're like, great. We don't want you here. When you're here, we have to deal with your drama, your baby behavior, and all of the baggage that comes with you. And you're like an asset for Putin. Why the hell would we want you here? So the G19, no longer the G20, they did something unprecedented. So they gave their united declaration of the G20, or now the G19, immediately, right when the conference starts. They did it. Now that never happens. What they normally do is you wait until the end of the conference, and then there's a lot of negotiation going back and forth about what the declaration is, the joint statement coming out of the G20 would be. Not this time. So Cyril Ramaphosa, the president of South Africa, he, on behalf of the united G19 minus the United States, says, here are our values. Multilateralism can and does deliver. And Donald Trump's whole position is being anti-multilateralism. Trump's whole thing is go it alone. So the G20, now the G19, immediately said, we stand together, we support each other, we support multilateralism, we don't need the United States here. Watch as the president of South Africa, who's hosting the G19, says that. Here, play this clip.
This G20 Leader Summit has a responsibility not to allow the integrity and the credibility of the G20 to be weakened. In fact, from this summit, we should have a sense that the G20 has been strengthened. We thank all delegations that have worked together with us in good faith to produce a worthy G20 outcome document for this historic leaders meeting. The G20 underscores the value of the relevance of multilateralism. It recognizes that the challenges that we face can only be resolved through cooperation, collaboration, and partnership. The adoption of the declaration from the summit sends an important signal to the world that multilateralism can and does deliver. It sends a message of hope and solidarity across the world. It tells the world that as the leaders of the G20, we will keep fast to our solemn pledge to leave no person, no community, and no country behind.
And the speeches at this G20 were so powerful, and they were all directed at smacking down the Trump regime and the no-show Donald Trump. I'll give you this example. The president of Finland, Alexander Stubb, he gave an incredible speech where he talked about a rules-based order, multilateralism, and how there needs to be cooperation among nations. This was clearly directed at the Trump regime and the chaos that the United States is causing here. Play this clip.
Move on to His Excellency, the President of the Republic of Finland, Alexander Stubb.
Thank you very much, Cyril, and thank you for the invitation. You know that Finns are famous for two things. One, they speak very shortly, and two, they love rules. And I hope I will stick to both. It's a great privilege to be here for the first time representing Finland. We've never been at a G20 meeting before, and we really appreciate the invitation. Jonas Störe and I both come from Nordic countries, and we once calculated that the Nordics would be G10. So perhaps I'll speak in that spirit. Cyril, for me, this meeting is very much a symbol of multilateralism. And what you are trying to do here is to bring a group of key countries together that have both demography and economy on their side. And you are doing it at a time when there clearly is a change in the world order, where I believe personally that the nexus of power is moving eastbound and southbound. And now I think all of us pretty much have a choice. And the choice is between multilateralism, which you are representing, and multipolarity. And these two things are very different. For me, multilateralism is about cooperation, it's about rules, it's about norms, and it's about institutions. I like these rules because they are the ones that bring exactly the thing that you have up there on the board: solidarity, equality, and sustainability. My big worry right now is that the world is moving more in a multipolar direction. And multipolarity, though it gives power to nation states as such, is problematic because it's more transactional. It's more about deals, and therefore it's more prone to conflict. There have been many excellent interventions here today about rules on trade, rules on the way in which we engage with each other. My biggest worry right now is that we are not seeing enough multilateralism in three key conflicts that have been raging around the world. One, Russia's war of aggression in Ukraine. Two, the situation in Gaza. And three, the situation in Sudan. So I hope that we lean towards multilateralism. And let me say, coming from a small country, what I believe the West should do in this. I think the West should understand that the multilateral institutions that were created after World War II and that were upheld after the Cold War, the power structure of them is right now unfair. It needs to be changed. We need to distribute power in a world that exists today, not the world that existed in 1945. That is the best way for us to drive multilateralism and get it back on track. Thank you very much. 3 minutes and 12 seconds.
Thank you very much, President Stubb. You were just so precise, Alexandra. That's the Nordic spirit, I take it.
And I think a great analysis of what transpired comes from Dr. Oscar van Heerden from South Africa as well. And he says, look, having Trump not here was the best thing for all of the world leaders. We could actually have constructive conversations. We could work together. In other words, Donald Trump is a cancer throughout the world. We don't want him. Get rid of this guy. Stay out of all of these and the world can actually get along. Now, as an American, it is so disheartening, of course, to see how America is viewed on the world stage like that. But it's true. The guy is a dangerous menace to the United States, to the international order. And this is being confirmed here. Play this clip.
The diplomatic speak. They had to be careful how they frame things, but there are sections that speak to each and every of the four themes that the presidency of this G20 has been putting on the agenda. It speaks about climate financing, it speaks about debt management, it speaks about disaster management, and it speaks about critical minerals. And the fact that all these leaders that are here, bar one, could agree on that. That's a significant consensus, and I think now all we need to say is the proof is in the pudding. It needs to be translated into actionable plans.
Dr. van Heerden, I do want to ask you, do you think it might have been easier for them to reach consensus minus that one leader in the room?
Absolutely. We know what a disruptor Trump can be. He's wanting the limelight on him. He was going to throw his toys out of the cot. He was going to want to play golf and just take all the limelight onto him and away from the summit. And I think it's a blessing in disguise that he and his delegation was not here, because it meant we could move quickly, with speed, and agree on very, very fundamental things.
Now just take a look at the G20 family photos right here. Without Donald Trump, everybody looks happy. It's normal. You know, Donald Trump even got jealous when he found out how smooth it was going. And then we heard that perhaps that the U.S., they may send some liaison to show up at a hearing. Look, just freeze Trump out of this stuff. He doesn't need to be here at all. Let me show you how they're talking about it on Sky News over in the UK with Prime Minister Keir Starmer's arrival. Play this clip.
Well, I think it's fair to say, Kamali, and good morning, that events not in South Africa, not at this G20, are really overtaking discussions here because President Trump has not attended the G20. He's boycotted it. He hasn't sent any US officials. He's not that into multilateralism and decision making in these big summits, but he is driving through a peace deal for Ukraine that US officials have drawn up with Russia without Ukraine involvement. And there is a massive pushback at the moment with leaders here trying to come up with alternatives, trying to press the US, trying to insert more of Ukraine's demands into a deal that at the moment Ukraine are going to find very hard to accept. But President Trump is saying, take it or leave it, and giving them a deadline. And there has been a statement overnight ahead of today's meetings. This is from the Prime Minister. He said today UK's friends and partners will meet in the margins of the G20 summit to discuss how we can secure a full ceasefire and create space for meaningful negotiations.
The heartbeat of African resistance. We bring you raw, unfiltered updates on Ibrahim Traoré, President of Burkina Faso, the man challenging the global system. If you believe in truth, power, and a rising Africa, this is your home. Subscribe now. Stand tall. Stay woke. Young Patriots, where revolution lives.